What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Hope you guys are good. Got HD camera. I gotta make sure that joint is right because I ain't trying to record this joint. I look back at it, and I had some questionable things in my beard. Anyways, the Six Past Commandments, Mr. Lane. If you need me, it's your little big bro tuning back in to tap in with y'all. So man, this is hard for me. I ain't gonna lie because I'm gonna have to shed some more of my ego to even give y'all this content, man. But I want to talk about the lovely lady Shera Seven, man. Shout out to Shera Seven, man. So I always heard her name, but I wasn't familiar with what she looked like, and I hadn't necessarily seen her content. I've been seeing little clips here and there, and it's like I want to get deeper into it, but I kind of feel like it's just by logic. I already kind of know what it's about. I don't think anything that she does or talks about is like groundbreaking information aside from when she gets deep into like basically manipulation tactics. As far as the idea is to like, hey, get with a guy that has his life together, so that you can have some kind of stability and security in life. That's one. I mean, she doesn't really say it like that, but I guess that's the point. But coming up with like degrading terms, for men, and this whole and that whole. Don't get me wrong. I can see how some people think it's funny because honestly, but for the most part, the whole like sprinkle, like that's what it is. Like when I see that, it'll be something different if most black men didn't experience black women talking to them however they want, not speaking very highly of them, not publicly disparaging them. Like Michelle Obama was in an interview with Oprah telling her that, I think it was a picture of her and President Obama, and she said, yeah, people are commenting relationship goals, but they didn't know I was mad at him. You are Michelle Obama. That is one of the presidents of the United States. That's not for you to talk about publicly. Shout out to Dennis Sperling. He did a whole live on this, just talking about like how black women do not try to protect our image at all. It doesn't matter how high up you go. He's the president, and his woman still is complaining about him. That's as successful as you can possibly be. How many women can say, I was married to a president of the United States? He made me the first. That man made you the first lady of the United States twice over. If it were not for him, you would never have been in that White House or been in that position or in that exalted position. How many women can say that? Only 46 women can say that. And about almost 95% of them are dead. And you still are complaining about him in public. Okay? So it'll be something different if we didn't have all the issues that we had in our community, and then maybe this would be a little more funnier, or maybe it'll be like new information. I'm like, since when have women not seen men as ATMs in the Western world? That's not new. I mean, like that's what it's always been about. It's always been about money. It's always been about status. I think more so. I think being as though there's so many voices now, and that you can create your own echo chamber, okay, and create an echo chamber where you hear what you want to hear, and if you're a person that wants to know about finance, you can create a whole world around yourself where YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram will show you things about finance, fitness, whatever you're into, right? So, no, and I also think that this content speaks to the length of a woman's logic, because when they hear her talk about these things, y'all not making just any observations. I don't think she's ugly. I don't think she's a bad looking woman, right? But men who make good money are not giving a woman who looks like that anything. That kind of woman does not command a man with money, and she's also selling you the idea that you can be fat and have a bad attitude and a bad weave and an okay makeup, and you're still going to win. Don't get me wrong. I don't think she's bad looking. I don't think that, I mean, I'm just saying in general, I don't think she's bad looking or bad to look at, nothing like that. But you're definitely not the kind of woman that, I don't understand how women watch this content and look at her and say, oh, all right, well, she definitely knows what she's talking about. You know, like that would be like watching like a guy that's like 25 years old out of shape and he's giving fitness advice. It could be a little different if the guy's older. I mean, he's out there, you know what I mean? He's an older guy, he's in his 50s or 60s, so he's not going to be in excellent shape, but he may have been an athlete in his former life, you know, and he could tell you about, you know, how to train and whatnot, you know, but that's what it's like. I'm like, she was never a beautiful woman. And not only that, you know, it's well, I'm gonna tell you the reason why I decided to do the video, right? So I'm gonna play a clip. It might be in the beginning or right now, where this lady is saying Kevin Samuels and Sheryl Seven is saying the same thing about, you know, Kevin Samuels saying, you know, men you know, need to pay for everything, and you know they don't want a woman that's overweight, they don't want a woman that has a bad attitude, and and Sheryl Seven is saying essentially the same thing, but they're not saying the same thing, because thing about Sheryl Seven is that she's not giving you advice on how to become a better person and the best version of you, and contributing to your family and to your family's legacy, to your community, okay? Any of that stuff. Kevin Samuels never told men that, yo, it's all about you, do whatever you want. He said, go out there and work your butt off, build relationships, you know, build, because life is about relationships and people. You know, he didn't say, listen, get to the bag, do whatever you got to do to get to the bag, and do whatever you have to do to have sex with beautiful women. You know, like he didn't say stuff like, honestly, the kind of advice I hear in these videos outside of like common sense type of things, because she says things that kind of make sense, you know, in terms of logic, but it mostly kind of just sounds good to somebody who's bitter and does not want to work hard on anything. Okay? So someone who feels like, you know, basically people who are not accountable, because you have to be wary of someone who's giving you advice that doesn't involve you doing any kind of hard work. You gotta be wary of someone who's basically trying to convince you that men who are smart enough, resourceful enough, and strong enough to make themselves into the top percent of men are just so stupid that they'll basically fall for tricks. You can just trick them, and they won't be able to tell. They can't tell if you're being genuine. They can't tell if you're lying to them. They can't tell if you're feminine. That basically you can fool these guys. You can fool these guys, and they'll be none the wiser. It's like all her advice is, and they'll be none the wiser. You know. So yeah, man. We gonna get into this a little bit deeper a little bit later on, but I had to touch on that. You know, in terms of the difference between what Sheryl Seven is saying and what Kevin Samuels was teaching. I think you guys get into being as though people mostly knew him for the high value man conversation, but the high value man conversation was a conversation because when women would talk about the kind of man, and when you ask them what kind of man do you want, they start describing a man that's in the top percent of men, and he understood that, man, if all these women think that they're going to get the top 20% of men up into the top 1% of men, the numbers just don't add up. There's no way that you guys can all get this guy, or I can't even say some of you, because again, it's 20%, and that 20% does not include whether or not they're single, married, or not heterosexual. You know, so it comes down even more if we start factoring. All right, let's also take out the guys who are married. Let's take out the guys who are or who are not heterosexual. And then also let's also take out the guys that don't. If you talking about black women that don't date black women, you know, take those guys out. You know, however you want to slice it. You know, the idea was that, hey, this is another reason why we're not getting together, is because so many women think that they all can get a man like this, or they should be looking for a man like this. And again, a lot of times this would be regular women, regular everyday women who are overlooking men who are suitable for them. Like I always say, you know, we've seen this play out from the time we were in junior high. We've always known that when you get to junior high, you know who the most popular guys are. It's not a bunch of guys, and men have no problem with it. We know who's getting the girls. A lot of times it's 5 to 10 guys per grade. It might be that. It might be less than that sometimes. But it's 5 to 10 guys that maybe all the girls know and girls like and stuff like that. I'll go as high as 10 out of a few hundred boys. All right? And that's being generous. Okay? Always plays out that way, you know. Or I'll bring up the example of, if I always ask men, Do you remember liking a girl and you couldn't talk to that girl because not because she was in a relationship with this guy, or they're together, or he's or they're courting and stuff like that, just because she likes him. Like you'll hear stuff like, oh nah, she likes so and so. They ain't together. They not messing them. She likes so and so, so therefore you can't talk to her. That'll be I mean, weirdest thing, right? But we've seen that play out, like throughout life, and it plays out even now, and even more so because of social media. Because a lot of women see a lifestyle online and think that, oh, all right, well, okay, I'll go get that, as if it's on eBay, or Amazon. All right, let me order it on Amazon to be on my doorstep tomorrow, So so again, that was the point of the conversation, because the idea was getting black folks together in relationships, helping people understand what dating really is, because for the most part, the way it plays out is most of our women wind up just unmarried. Overwhelming majority just winds up unmarried. Okay, so obviously the way that our women are thinking is keeping them single. That was the point of the conversation. And also with the men, he was very harsh on men. My favorite videos I ever seen was, and the boy might not have even been that wrong, but I think he said to him, I think the clip starts at him saying, well, I'm not going to approach a woman unless she's giving me choosing signals. So he says, at some point probably asked him, how much do you weigh? Do you have a big penis? I think that was for the point of, I think Kevin Samuels was he was understanding content at that point. And I think he knew that he had to say wild things. For one, he's trying to get that guy's attention. Two, he wants a moment for online. So you got to kind of jump on moments online. He asked him, he said, all right, he said, how much do you make? He said, yo, I make about $800 every 2 weeks. So it's like, he said, all right, that's roughly about $20,000 a year. He said, you make $20,000 a year, you live with your parents, you a fat dude. He said, you a fat dude, make $20,000 a year, you live with your mama, and you want someone to give you choosing signals, and that's real. Because men need to understand, and men are always made to understand, this is where you are, and that's okay. Not a bad person. If you don't got all the money in the world, not a bad person. If you got a hoopty, you're not a bad person. If you're not Casanova, if you're not Wesley Pipes in bed, you ain't no bad person. I don't mean that ain't nothing out there for you. Just work harder. Do what you gotta do. If you talking about you want a woman, you have to work for it. He never told men they don't gotta work for it. He never told men to go have game. Men who are successful don't need game. All right, because game is about lying. Game is about tricking someone and getting them under hypnosis. That's what game is about. Okay. How about you be a good man? How about you build your character up? How about you build your circle up? Because again, because at the end of the day, even if you get the woman, you still gonna have to be the man on some level, or at least be able to take care of yourself in a way to where you are self-sufficient and you don't need anyone to help you with your bills or your expenses. That's all you need to get to for a man. You know what I mean? And you will be a suitable husband for most women. If you can take care of yourself first and sustain yourself first with no help and pay all your bills, you can do that, you're probably good. All right, but these were the things that he was teaching. Whereas whenever I look at these clips and whatnot, I saw something about like her saying, don't tell a man you have kids when y'all first start dating and everything to protect your children. You can't get guys who make that kind of money. They care about stuff like that. It's not going to end well for that young lady or that lady in general. If you tell her to lie about who she is, and then the guy finds out who she is, he's not going to say, that's okay that you didn't tell me that you had kids. I saw one clip, this is from a reaction video, because I ain't gonna lie, there's a lot of stuff out there. I don't know if I can get through all of it, but one, she was saying she doesn't cook for her family. I'm gonna tell you right now, when fellas, if you hear stuff like that, that's not a good person. A woman's supposed to gatekeep stuff like that, because the idea is for your family to be healthy. You're supposed to gatekeep. That's why mom says go to the doctor. That's why mom schedules all your doctor's appointments and takes care of all the in the house kind of stuff and stuff with the kids. Why? To keep them healthy, right? That's why mom tries to get you to eat vegetables and all type of stuff. You know why? They keep you healthy, because again, your life is in her hands. You know what I mean? And that goes for her whole family. So someone who's okay with basically her family eating takeout every day. She basically said they order out every single day. They if they're hungry, they know how to make stuff for themselves. She says we said because I'm vegan, so I'm vegan. And what she said I might cook for them once a week. Ma, this is someone like, and I'm like, on some level it's like you're teaching women, not even again, women want to be, I don't know how, I'm saying you're teaching them, they want to be taught, but basically you're appealing to a woman that does not want to do any work. She rather hear how to scam a man into a relationship rather than do the work. How about you become a good woman? How about you learn how to keep your house? How about you learn about finances so you guys can help to help your man make more money, okay? And maintain the money. Your job is not for a man to get some money and you spend it. I saw one clip where she was talking about how to get money from a man, and she said, so you know what you do? You say, and he'll say, what's wrong? He said, oh, you know what? I don't want to ask you, but there is something, okay, how about this? Let's go to the ATM and you take out and you give whatever you want to give, and it's gonna make me really happy. You know what? Don't do it right now. Next time you see me, just give it to me, and who's doing this kind of stuff, man? Even men who got it aren't doing this kind of stuff. I want to end the video, but I just keep thinking about all these different examples. But another thing I'm going to say too is, if you look in the comment sections, right, whenever this conversation comes up, women will jump in the comment section saying, some men like doing that. Some men don't care. If I had to sit down and interview that woman, and by the end of the conversation, it's either you're lying or you're making reference to one sucker that you came across, or one dude that was like reckless with his money that you came across. That would be the same way as me saying some women like giving head on the first date. Like I don't understand what this is about, making me wait. Some women like to do oral sex on the first date and sleep with you on the first date. Some women like that. And if I told a woman that, what's she gonna say? What she gonna say about that woman? She gonna say something's up with her. Either that or you're lying, right? And women will, and again, all women have at least one, no matter how they look, they have one story of the guy who basically is willing to just risk it all and just give it all up. It's always that one guy, or they known someone who was a sucker, in so many words. There's nothing wrong with giving to your woman and looking out for her and providing for her and protecting her and spending a few dollars within your means. Nothing's wrong with that, but teaching women that you're going to get someone who's not your man, that you have no commitment with, that he should just have all this money at his disposal to give to you. And not only that, and if he doesn't want to do it, basically this shaming language is this sign language: shame, insult, guilt, and need to be right. And you'll see that too. Like, you see women will talk, basically try to guilt black men. It's mostly for black men. How to guilt black men into taking care of another man's kids. If a man come into your life when you already got kids, that's a huge blessing. That's fortune. You are lucky. Those are not his children. He's not obligated to take care of your kids. Okay? You see black women want to shame black men into paying their bills. Why can't you sustain your own lifestyle that you created for yourself? And also, why didn't you stay with them? If you already have kids, why didn't you stay with the man that you was with to begin with? You had kids with him. That's forever. Okay? What else? So we got trying to shame you into paying the bills, shame you into taking care of the kids, shame you into basically into giving marriage, and not getting a good deal, And also, again, the share yourself a content, again, it furthers the idea. Now again, they said that Dusty is not particularly a black man. It's a mindset. Only black men marry y'all and want to be in relationships with y'all. White men marry black women at a rate of 1%, 1 to 3%. So that means that other groups of men don't really marry y'all like that. So we're the ones who marry y'all and are in relationships with y'all, and you have the I'm sorry. A majority of the kids y'all have by black men. So you're talking to black men, and mostly black women are going to follow you, and they're going to. And if they get a man, it's probably going to be a black man. So that's who you're talking about. But again, this way of thinking furthers the idea that a black man has nothing to bring to the table but his penis and his wallet, and in this case, only his wallet. It doesn't matter how he gets. It doesn't matter if you leave him bankrupt. It doesn't matter. You know. But anyway, this video want to be a little bit too long. I'm about to head out. It's the 6 Past Commandments.